In 1996, Paul Martin and Jean Chrétien, among other Canadians, attended the Bilderberg meeting held in Toronto King City. The building picked was naturally a $66 million resort, which was then owned by CIBC Bank. Some of the other members that attended that year were Ted Rogers, Chairman, President, and CEO of Bell Canada, Chairman of Ford Motor Company, everyone's favorite Conservative Premier of Ontario, Mike Harris, Conrad Black, owner of many newspapers, and just recently sentenced to 78 months in a U.S. federal prison for wire fraud and obstruction of justice, Chairman of CIBC Bank, President of the National Bank of Hungary, David Rockefeller, Chairman of the Chase Manhattan Bank, and many, many more. But for those of you who don't know the Rockefeller family, they have a bit of a nasty history of playing Monopoly in America, as well as being a major supporter in the creation of a one-world government. But don't take my word for it. Listen to David Rockefeller himself. We are grateful to the Washington Post, the New York Times, Time Magazine, and other great publications whose directors have attended our meetings and respected their promises of discretion for almost 40 years. It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subject to the bright lights of publicity during those years. But the world is now much more sophisticated and prepared to march towards a world government. The supranational sovereignty of an intellectual elite and world bankers is surely preferable to the national autodetermination practiced in past centuries. I wish I was making this stuff up, but if you open up page 405 in Rockefeller's own autobiography, he states that, "For more than a century, ideological extremists at either end of the political spectrum has seized upon well-publicized incidents such as my encounter with Castro to attack the Rockefeller family for the inordinate influence they claim we wield over American political and economic institutions. Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists, and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure. One world, if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty, and I am proud of it." I bring this up because this man attends the same secret meetings all of our leading government officials do.
Now, those are the three issues that I'm working on. You may have others. Let's hear from them. You may not agree with me. Let's hear that. That's a lot more fun. And let's just talk about where we're going. Thank you very, very much.
I was able to catch up with Paul Martin on this topic at the University of Waterloo with a youth group I was a member of called Future Canada.
This was about, I believe in 1996, you attended a meeting called the Bilderberg meeting, and as I think you're Minister of Finance at the time. Not many people know about the Bilderberg meeting. I try to speak to people about it and they think I'm crazy or that it doesn't exist or anything like that. Namely because it's not really widespread in media, and in fact a lot of media representatives actually attend the meetings themselves, and they just choose not to disclose the information and context of it. I'm just wondering, in 1996 when you attended, like just details, like I mean, if you could explain like who invited you, why did you go, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I can't remember who invited me, but I remember going once. The Bilderberg meeting is a meeting of very influential people around the world. Canada, at that point, was considered a third world basket case. We were in trouble up to our eyeballs, and I had to go. I essentially went to common markets, went to them and say, look, we're getting our act together, and it worked.
Okay, well, one of the members of the Bilderberg meeting actually, sorry?
Are you not going to take questions from the floor?
Okay, but just one thing about that Bilderberg meeting is that one of the attendees named David Rockefeller, and when I heard you talking earlier about this global financial crisis that everyone's involved in, and just like Stephen Harper said, that possibly this is going to be as bad or worse than the Great Depression in 1929, and not many of us have actually lived in those times, so we don't know what we're actually facing, but it could be pretty bad. And one of the members of the Bilderberg meeting stated in the Bilderberg meeting that we are on the verge of a global transformation. All we need is the right major crisis, and the nations will accept the New World Order. And this is someone who attended the same meetings as you, and no one really knows about it. In fact, actually, most of the last 4 out of 5 prime ministers we've had attended these meetings too. Stephen Harper, John Critchane, and so on and so on. And I spoke to John Turner, a former prime minister as well, who didn't attend, and I asked him what he thought of it, and he said very specifically that it's basically a group of businessmen who get together behind closed doors and sell out Canadian sovereignty. He said he didn't like them at all, and he was very skeptic.
Well, it may well be the meeting that I went to. I can't remember if David Rockefeller was there. There was no question of Canadian sovereignty. But what there was a group of people. This was the year that the Wall Street Journal called Canada essentially a banana republic, said that we were a third world country, we were going down. And I've got to tell you that my first couple of years as finance minister, I did nothing but go around the world basically saying that Canada was going to turn it around. We did. We did it. Within 4 years, we had the best balance sheet of any country in the world.
So what is your opinion about
Oh, hey.
What's up, buddy? It was really good. It was really, really good stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if the system did he come over and
He told me to because I don't know what it was. He just said that I could ask no more questions. Yeah. Again, that's what his chief of staff told me.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I think it was felt there was a little bit of an attack on him, to be honest.
Yeah.
And so he said, if he's going to ask me more questions, that he would just have the sworn and leave.
Okay, if you're an RCMP officer, could you care to explain why Canadian tax dollars are going to protect this guy instead of putting him behind bars? He's conspiring with international bankers in secret who openly talk about world domination via major world crises, on top of participating in the largest theft ever committed in our country's history. And when confronted about all of this, he acts like a child and has his chief of staff remove my microphone. Is this any way for a Prime Minister of Canada to act? Surely this is newsworthy. Good thing CTV was there to catch the footage.